In this video, we are going to create this responsive portfolio website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I will walk you through every line of code and show you how it's done. But first, let me show you the website. We are going to be creating this part by part. The first part will be the header. If I scroll down just a little bit, you can see that it has a glass effect. We have this logo, some links to the other sections, and this button with the gradient effect. Also some text with the gradient effect as well. Some social media icons with the hover effects and buttons. And this image with this glowing hover effect. Let's see the other ones. So the second one is the About section. This one has the same image with the same effects, some more text and button. And as you may notice, we have some smooth transition between the sections like this. Let's see the next one, the services section with the 3 cards, the projects. This is where you can display your projects with image and some text, the contact form, and finally a footer. If you click on this logo, it will take you back to the home section. Now let's see about the responsiveness. So this is the home section again. Once the viewport gets smaller, we have this drop-down menu coming up. The About section. Every other section is responsive as well. Let's see the services. Let's see the projects. And the contact form as well. And that is pretty much it. Now that we finished the introduction, let's get into it. So if you are going to code along with me, you will find a link in the description to this starting files. And let me walk you through them real quick. First, I have this image. You can of course change this with your own image. I have this index.html file. I have a boilerplate. I change the title to portfolio website, link the style sheet, link the JavaScript file, and for the icons that we are going to use, I'll link the box icons. If you're not going to use the starting folder, let me quickly show you how to add the box icons as well. You can find the link in the description for this website. Click on usage, scroll down, and copy and paste it inside the head section. And these other images are for the projects. So if you're going to display your own projects, just have some screenshots of your own projects. And the JavaScript file is empty for now. Let's see the CSS file. So for the whole page, I reset the margin and padding, set the box sizing of all the elements to border box, delete the text decoration like underlines and stuff, and set the scroll behavior to smooth, and that basically creates that smooth transition between the sections you see earlier. And font family to Poppins, you can maybe change this to whatever you like. And I have some variables for the colors. We are going to be using a lot of colors, so I don't want them to be hard-coded. Using variables are much more easier. I have a background color, second background color, a text color, and the main color. And finally, for the whole page, I set the font size to 60% of the default and set the overflow X to hidden, which is basically going to delete every overflow on the X axis. And this is it. Also, don't forget to open this HTML file on the browser using live server. So as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be creating this part by part, and the first part is the header. The header is going to be really straightforward. I will just create a header with the class name header. And for the logo, I will create this anchor tag with the class of logo. And also it is going to be pointing us to the home page when you click on it. Inside, you can put your own name. I will open a span for the surname. We are going to be changing the color of this span. So after this, I will create the menu icon from box icons. I'm not going to search around inside the website, so let's directly put the class name. We are not going to be using this icon right now anyways. It will be useful to us when we create the responsiveness with the drop-down menu. Let's also give it a ID menu icon. And for the links, let's create a navigation bar with the class of navbar. And inside, let's create some couple of links. The first one is going to be the home. Second one is going to be about. Third one is the services. The next one is going to be projects. And the final one is going to be the contact. And also we will have this button with the class name gradient button. And that is it with the header. It is really simple. Now let's style this. So right now it looks like this. So before I style the header, first I will select the body and set the background to the background color and text color to the text color. Let's select the header. So I want this header to stay at the top as you scroll down. So I will set the position to fixed, and also let's set the width to 100% to make it take as much space as it needs. And to make sure that it stays at the top, I will use top 0 and left 0. For the padding, I will have 4 rem of padding at the top and the bottom, and 15% on the sides. Also, we are going to be using this 15% of padding on the sides for the other sections as well. So when we finish, everything is going to be aligned. And as you saw earlier, it is going to have a glass effect. So I will set the background color to a transparent color. Let's make it 0.3. And for the glass effects, I will use a backdrop filter. And using the blur effect, we will create that glass effect. Let's also place these items. So I want this logo to be on the left and the navigation bar on the middle and button towards to the right. So basically we are going to be putting all the available space between these elements. And for that, I can make this header a flex container. And using justify content space between, I can put all the available space between these items. Let's also horizontally align them using align item center. And just to make sure that this header stays at the top of everything else inside the page, I will set the Z index to a really high number. And next, I will basically delete the icon. As I mentioned earlier, we are not going to be using this right now. So let's quickly style it. I will increase the font size to 3.5 rem. Set the color to the main color. And let's not display it for this moment. Next, I will select the logo, increase the font size, set the text color to white, increase the font weight to 800, and cursor is going to be pointer, indicating that this is something clickable, and it is actually something clickable. After we finish, when you click on the logo, it will take you back to the home page. And for the transition, I will use 0.3 and ease in out, and this is going to make the transition more smooth. When you hover over this logo, I will just make it a little bit bigger using transform scale. And now let's create that gradient effect for the span element. So I'm just going to copy and paste this linear gradient. This linear gradient is actually a function and it takes 3 arguments. So it is at 270 degrees, so it's basically from left to the right. It starts with this orange yellowish color and it goes to this red color. So we need to put this gradient inside the text, and right now it basically acts like a background. I need to clip this text to the background and make it invisible so we can see through the text. And there is a CSS property for that, which is background clip text, and this will clip the text to the background. And if I make the text transparent, you can see through the text, and it looks like this now. Next, let's select the anchor tags, set the font size to 1.8 rem, set the color to white. Let's put some space between them using margin left, increase the font weight, transition for the hover effect, and I will create a underline effect. And to be able to create it, I need to have this transparent border. So when you hover over it, let's make the text orange, and a underline effect with the orange color as well. And the only thing left is to style that button. I will increase the font size to 1.8. Padding is going to be 1 rem at the top and the bottom, and 2 rem on the sides. Let's have a really high border radius, and I will just copy and paste the same gradient effects. Let's put some space between the letters as well. Cursor is going to be pointer when you hover over it. Transition for the hover effects. Text color is going to be white. I will delete the default border. And also, I will set the text wrap to no wrap. And this is something to do with the responsiveness, because we have 2 words inside this button. Once the viewport gets smaller, the words inside the button basically wraps around, and I don't want that to happen. So we set the text wrap to no wrap. And when you hover over it, we are going to be making this a bit bigger. And that is it with the header. It looks like this now. And we can go to the next part. So the next part is going to be the home section. I will create a section with the class name home and the ID of home. Inside, I will create a div with the class name home content and another div for the image, so home image. Inside the home content, at the top, I will create a h1 with some text inside. I will open up a span for the name. Again, if you are making this your own portfolio, you can put your own name in here. Right under this, I will have this h3 with some more text and a span for the job title. Under this, a paragraph for some more information. Under this paragraph, a div with the class name social icons for the social media icons. Again, I won't be browsing around inside the box icons website. I will just copy and paste the class names. So I will create an anchor tag, and inside this, the first one is the GitHub logo. The second one is LinkedIn. Third one is Instagram. And the final one is Twitter. Next, we will create 2 buttons. So under this div, but still inside the home content, I will create a div with the class name button group. For the buttons, let's create 2 anchor tags. The first one is going to have the class of btn. And the second one, this is going to be pointing us to the contact form. The class is going to be btn. Let's change the text to contact. Finally, inside the home image, I will put the image this will be your own image. And that is it with the HTML of the home section. Now we can style it. First, I will select the section and set the minimum height to 100 VH to make this section cover the entire page. And padding is going to be 10 rem at the top and the bottom, and 15 on the sides, matching the header. And every other section that we are going to be create will have this styling, so everything is going to be aligned. Let's select the home. I will make this one a flex container. I want the image and the home content side by side. Let's center everything and put some gap between them. Let's select the home content. I will make this one a flex container as well. Change the flex direction to column to bring everything on top of each other. I will align the icons, the text and everything to the right. Text align right. Now let's style the text. The H1 is going to be a lot bigger. Increase the font weight as well. And there is going to be a slight margin to the top. And let's also decrease the line height to 1. Select the H3. Set a margin. So 1 rem at the top and the bottom and 0 on the sides. And increase the font size as well. The paragraph is going to be 1.5 rem. And increase the line height as well to make it easier to read. Now let's select the image. I will set the width to 32 viewport width. And that basically means this image is going to be 32% of the viewport width. And this is going to help us with the responsiveness. I will make this image a circle by using border radius 50%. And to create that glowing effect I showed you earlier, I will use a box shadow. So the directions are going to be 0. I want this shadow to be directly behind the image. And I will have a 25 pixel of spread with the main color. And let's have a transition for this hover effect. So when you hover over it, we are basically going to spread this box shadow even more. So it is going to be 50 pixel and it is going to be 100 pixels. Let's see. And it works fine. Let's style the social media icons. So inside this anchor tags, we have the icons. So I want this anchor tags to be side by side and also flex containers. So I will set the display to inline flex. And to center the icon inside, I will use justify content center and align items center. Increase the font size to 3 rem. This will make the icons bigger. Let's have some padding inside. Background is going to be transparent. I will also create a orange border and make it a circle using border radius 50%. The icons are going to be orange. And let's have some space. 3 rem at the top and the bottom. And 0.5 between the icons. And transition for the hover effect. When you hover over it, the color is going to be white. Background color is going to be orange. And I will make it just a little bit bigger and also make it move to the top by 5 pixel. As you can see, you can chain these transform effects like this. So when you hover over it, it is going to get bigger and move to the top at the same time. Let's also have a box shadow as well. And there you go. So only thing left in this part is to style the buttons. First, I will select the button group and make it a flex container. And then I will put some gap between the buttons. Let's select the button. The buttons are going to be inline elements and also block level elements. Padding is going to be 1 rem to 3 rem. Background is going to be orange. And I will also have this same glowing effect. Border radius is going to be the same with the other button. Increase the font size to 1.8. So this is basically a default style for these button elements. I will basically change the second one. But now let's set this text color to black. Also have a transparent border for the hover effect. Increase the font weight to 600. And a transition for the hover effects. So when you hover over it, it is going to be bigger. And box shadow is going to spread even further. So this styling is going to be applied to each of the buttons, but I want to change the styling of the second one. So I will select the button group. I will select the buttons, and using nth of type, I will select the second button and set this one's background color to black, text color to orange, border to orange as well, and the box shadow is going to be the same. So when you hover over it, the box shadow is going to be orange, background color is going to be orange, and text color is going to be black. And that is it with the home section. Now let's see how it looks. And everything looks fine. The header looks fine. The hover effects work. The gradient text is working fine. The icons are in the right place. The buttons are looking good. And now we can create the next one. So the next part is the About section, and this is going to be the easiest one. Under this Home section, I will create another section with the class name About and the ID About. At the very top, I will have this div with the About image class name, and I will put the same image inside. Under this div, I will create a About content. Let's have a h2 with the About, and let's put this word inside the span. Right under it, for some information, create a paragraph and the same button. So because I use the same class name, we don't have to style this button. And that is it with the About section. Now we can style it. First, I will make this one a flex container as well. Center everything, just like I did with the home section. And put some gap between the text and the image. Background color is going to be the second background color for now. And for the image, I will set it to 32 viewport width. Make it circular. And have the same box shadow with the same transition. And when you hover over it, the box shadow is going to spread even more. Let's style the text as well. The H2 is going to be a lot bigger. And it is going to be on the left. The paragraph is going to be 1.8. As I said, we don't have to style it from scratch, but I will put some space at the top and the bottom. And this is going to be border radius 50%. So this is basically it with the about section. Now that we have two sections, we can scroll down. So we can also style the scroll bar quickly. I won't be explaining this part much because I already have a video about it. You can click on the card and watch it. I will set the width to 20 pixels. And the thumb is going to have the main color. And the background color is going to be the background color. And that is it. The about section looks like this. As you can see, we have the smooth transition between the sections. Also, the scroll bar is looking really cool. And now we can create the third section, which is the services. So just like we did with the others, I will create another section with the class name services and the ID services. At the top, we will have this heading services. Right under it, let's create a container for the cards, services container. So we will create 3 cards, service box. Inside we will have service info, and at the top I will have this box icon. It is going to be the icon of Figma. Of course, you can change this text and icons matching your skills. And we are basically going to have 2 more of this, so let's copy and paste it. I will change this one to code. And this is it with the services section. We have 3 cards. And now let's style it. First, I will select the header and align it on the center. Increase the font size to a really big size and put some margin at the top and the bottom. Let's select the services. I will set the background color to the background color, and text color is going to be black, and the H2 is going to be white. So the container that has the cards inside, we are going to make this one a grid, and I will show you a little trick that will save us from a lot of lines of code when we create the responsiveness. So instead of hard coding the number of columns, I will use autofit, and it is basically going to automatically fit the cards side by side. And I need to use this min-max function as well to define a minimum size for the items inside and a maximum size. So the cards are going to be minimum 300 pixels wide and 1 fraction of space wide at the maximum. And I will align them horizontally and put some gap between them. Let's select the cards. I will make them flex containers. Center everything inside. Background color is going to be the orange color. Let's set the height to 600 pixels and have some curvature at the corners. Cursor is going to be pointer, indicating that this is something clickable. And for the hover effect, I will create this transparent border and also the transition. So when you hover over it, the background is going to be the second background color. Text color is going to be the orange color, and also the transparent border is going to be orange. And it is going to get just a little bit bigger. So let's place the text inside. Inside this info section, I will make this one a flex container. change the flex direction to column to bring the text on top of each other, align them on the center, and have some padding. Let's have 5 rem. The header is going to be the biggest one, 4 rem, and have some space at the top and the bottom. Increase the font weight as well. Paragraph is going to be much smaller. Increase the font weight to 600 and set the line height to 1.7 to make it easier to read. And the icons are going to be a lot bigger. And let's also fix this annoying H4. And that is it. The cards are looking fine. The hover effect looks good. And we can create the next one, which is going to be the projects. Let's create the project section. I will create a section with the class name projects and ID projects. At the top, I will have the same heading. Let's say projects. And inside, I will create a container for the cards. So projects box. And let's create the cards. We are going to be creating 6 cards. So the first one, project card. At the top, I will have this image. As I said earlier, you can display your own project's image. H3 with the project name and some information about it. And under this paragraph, a div with the btn class, review project. And we are basically going to copy and paste this 5 more times. And that is it. We have the 6 cards with 6 images and informations inside. Now let's style it. I will select this section, set the background color to the second background color. So for the placing of these cards, I will select the container and basically do the same thing I did with the services section. I will copy and paste this. Let's make it a grid. Let's paste it and just going to slightly increase the minimum width of these cards because they have images inside. I will center the items, put some vertical gap between them and horizontal gap as well. Select the project card. Let's make it a flex container. Change the flex direction to column to make everything stacked on top of each other. Align everything on the center. Text as well. Set the background color to the background color. Border is going to be the orange border. And let's have a border radius as well. And gap between the items inside is going to be 2 rem. The padding is going to be 5 rem at the top and the bottom and 2 rem on the sides. And for the image, I will delete the overflow inside this card. Let's set the cursor to pointer. And just a little bit of glowing orange shadow. And transition for the hover effect. So when you hover over it, basically the same glowing effect we did, it is going to spread just a bit further and a little bit bigger. Let's make those images smaller. Max width is going to be 300 pixels. Border radius for the image. Object fit cover. Let's select the H3. Increase the font size. And the paragraph as well. And that should be it. The cards are looking like this. We have the button, the text and the images are properly aligned. Now we can create the final section, which is going to be the contact form. So in this part, we are going to create the contact form and the footer as well. Just like we did with the others, let's create a section with the class name contact, ID contact. Let's have a heading at the top, contact, and let's put this inside a span. And let's have a form. So we will have two input groups, this first one and this is the second one. So the first one is going to have two more inputs inside, input box. Let me create some space. This may be looking confusing. So this first one is going to have this input with the text and placeholder, full name. And second one is going to be email, placeholder, email. And inside the second input box, we will have another input. And this time it is going to be a number. Placeholder is going to be phone number. And the second one is going to be text with the placeholder subject. And the second input group is just going to have text area with the placeholder your message, and right under it we will have a input with the type submit, and value is going to be send message. Class is going to be btn, and this is it with the contact form. Now let's create the footer. I will create a footer with the class name footer, and for the social media icons I will just copy and paste this. Inside, and under this div I will create a unordered list with the class name list to have some links inside this list items. The first one is going to be frequently asked questions. Second one is going to be services, and this will also direct us to the services section. Let's create another one. This is going to be about. This one is going to be projects. And the final one is going to be contact. And finally, under this unordered list, we will create a copyright text using a paragraph with the class name copyright. And we are completely done with the HTML. Only thing left is to style the contact form, the footer, and create a drop-down menu for smaller devices. So let's get to styling. First, we are going to style the contact form. So let's select the contact. Background color is going to be the background color. The heading is going to have a slight margin at the bottom, and text color is going to be white. Let's select the form and make it a flex container. Align everything. So this will basically bring these input groups side by side, and I will put some gap between them and a margin at the top and the bottom and 0 on the sides. And let's also center the text. I will select all the inputs, select the text area as well, set the width to 100% and some padding inside, increase the font size to 1.8, color to text color, background color is going to be the background color, and have some border radius. and a orange border, and to put some space between the inputs, 1.5 rem to 0. And also I don't want this text area to be able to resize, so I will set the resize to none. And also let's make it a little bit bigger. Inside this text area, I will set the columns to 30 and rows to 10. And that is it with the styling of the contact form. Now we can style the footer. I will set the background color to second background color and padding 50 pixel on the top and the bottom. The social icons are going to be aligned in the center. Also, let's select the unordered list and align the text and increase the font size. These list items are going to be inline block elements, so they stay side by side, and to put some space between them, margin left. And the anchor tags, the text are going to be white, and for the hover effects I will have this transparent border and the transition. So when you hover over it, the underline is going to be orange. And finally the copyright text. I will align the text in the center, put some space at the top, and set the font size to 16 pixels. So with this, we are done with the whole styling of the website. Let's take a look at it if there is anything wrong, and then we are going to create the responsiveness. Let's take a look at it from the very beginning. The home section looks good. The about section, services, cards are looking well. The contact form looks good. Footer looks well. So we can go to the final part. So to create the responsiveness, I will only have one breakpoint. If you think there's going to be any problems, you can play around with this on your own. So the first thing to do is to make the menu icon visible. So it was set to display none. Now I will set it to display block. And for the drop-down menu, I will select the navigation bar and set its position to absolute. It will stay at the top and to the right. And I will set the width to 50%, so it is going to be taking 50% of the space available. Padding is going to be 1 rem at the top and the bottom, and 3 rem on the sides. And it is going to be transparent, so let's set it to a transparent black color. Let's make it 1.8. And this left corner is going to have a radius which is going to be 2 rem. Border left is going to be 2 pixel orange, and border bottom is going to be 2 pixel solid orange as well. Let's select the anchor tags, and these are going to be block level elements. Increase the font size to 2 rem and put some space between them using margin. Text color is going to be white. And we are going to set this to display none for now. So using JavaScript, when you click on this menu icon, we will set this navigation bar to display block. And for that, I will create a active class. So when this navbar gets the class of active, it is going to be displaying as a block level element. And we are going to set this up in a second using JavaScript. Also, let's delete the gradient button. And we will basically change the flex direction of the home. So flex direction column reverse. So this will bring the image to the top and text to the bottom, and put some space at the top and the bottom as well. and we will decrease the gap to 5 rem from 15. Also, inside the home content, I will align the items in the center. It was flex end towards to the right, and now it is going to be centered. Text align is going to be centered as well, and I will make the image a lot bigger, so 56 viewport width. And let's see about the about section. I will change this flex direction to column reverse as well, just like we did with the home, and align the text on the center. And the heading of this about is going to be centered as well. And let's put some space at the top and the bottom. And about section's image is going to have a bit more smaller image, so 52 instead of 56. And we don't even have to write down any media queries for these services and projects. As you can see, they are already responsive. The only thing left is to change the flex direction of this contact form as well. I will select the contact form and I will change the flex direction to column, and that is it. Let's go into the JavaScript file and set the drop-down menu as well. It is going to be really short. First, I will create a variable for the menu icon. I will access the document, and using query selector, I will put the menu icon inside this variable and also the navbar in the same way. For the menu icon, I will create a onClick function. So when you click on this menu icon, I will add a class as a toggle, and this class is going to be a icon actually. This is a class name from box icons, and this is actually a icon, which is the X icon. You can actually search it inside the website and see. So when you click on the menu icon, the class is going to change to this X icon, so you can click on it and close it. And the navbar is going to have a class as well, and it is going to be the active class that we just created inside the CSS. As you can see here, when the navbar gets the class of active, we display it as a block level element instead of not displaying it. And this is what it does. When you click on the menu icon, the icon changes to X icon, and the navbar gets displayed because it gets the class name of active. So let's see if everything is working fine. And the drop-down menu works. Let's take a final look at the website. Now let's see. And as you can see, on the smaller devices, the website looks good. Everything is in the right place, everything is responsive, and the drop-down menu works. And this is how we can create this website using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I hope you guys find it helpful and enjoyed it. Thank you for your time, and I will see you next time.